yourselves, what are you doing in this time of great challenge? What are you doing to unlock minds? During the break, I saw some footage that really upset me. I don't know if we'll have it ready for the nightly news tonight or if it'll be Friday, because they've got to, dump it onto the computers and then get it all ready and transfer it over. But they're taking taxpayer money and buying drones here in Texas, robots that are like $1 million+ a piece for bombs. They're buying these giant $690-something thousand speedboats for lakes and rivers that have giant machine guns mounted all over them. And they didn't have the machine guns mounted 3 months ago when we first went out and talked to them at a lake. They didn't know who we were. We did a nice interview, put it on TV. I made my points about how we're going bankrupt, but they're constantly militarizing our police. They wanted to go back because they were here in Austin showing off the big machine guns on the big speedboats and all the weapons. It's well over $700,000 with all the weapons, when they could easily have speedboats that are $100,000. It just shows endless money for government. Darren McBreen and John Brown went out there politely, and they were bowing up. They were saying, we're not going to talk to you, even though it was a press event that they called. They had state police standing right up in their space, and when they left, they had state police follow them out of the parking lot over by the lake. And I mean, the body language, I mean, this country is in such trouble. Hey, state police, memo to you, you morons. We're not the enemy, okay? And when you bow up and you act crazy because we're there pointing out, well, they didn't even get to their questions. We were going to bring up Fast and Furious, government shipping guns in. Don't give us this bull about drug interdiction. The government ships the drugs in. I mean, it's on the news that the government ships the opium in and cocaine in. And we're here to talk about it. We're calling the hoax. But Darren didn't get to that. He showed up. The media's there for the press conference. They knew him from the last report, which was a nice report. He just asked him questions about how much it cost so he could play it and I could talk about it. You saw my report, a lot of you. It was pretty milquetoast. Just because it was Alex Jones. And he had the InfoWars and the microphone, all that. This time they recognized it, and they're acting like Darren is Satan incarnate. And they've got state police up in his in uniform, up in his space, and then they followed him to the car, and then followed him like we're bad, like you scare us. You make us want to throw up. You're so un-American. You're so pathetic. Why don't you move to North Korea, where the police try to intimidate the First Amendment? You're ashamed of your family. You're ashamed of this country. You're ashamed of everything this republic ever was when you act like that. I saw a state police checkpoint out by Lakeway, the middle of last year. And I'd driven by it. So I pulled over in the neighborhood, and I politely walked up. And they were all standing there on the side of the road, and they were watching the cars go by, and I said, hey, what's going on, officer? I was like, hey, good morning. What's going on? And I had a feeling they were going to bow up to me, but I said, I'm going to be friendly. And he turned around and he said, get out of here. Go. What are you doing? And I said, well, I was talking to you. I'm a citizen. And the guy's like, get out of here. And he just got off, and I said, oh, you've got the power. And he just totally flipped out on a demonic power trip when I followed his order, just like, oh, God, the country's mine. Just, don't worry, it is all yours. Drink fluoride, take shots. They're going to bankrupt the whole country. It's all gone. You win. Everything's yours. You get to bow up to reporters. You get to follow people around. You get to have North Korea. You want North Korea? You got it. You want to be anti-American? You're it. Oh, man. I remember going to the state capitol 15, 16 years ago, and the state police were all so nice, so friendly. Oh, we like your show. How's it going? It was like Mayberry. Now you go to the capitol half the time, and the state police, some of them, just look at you with hatred. You say hi to them. They're like, don't talk to me. Aaron's out there getting an establishing shot last year. You've seen this video before he went in and filmed a committee hearing. They run up, bowing up to a guy in a dress shirt and pants, clean cut, and go, what are you doing? He's got a big professional camera, and he's like, I'm media. Well, show me your ID. And Aaron's like, well, you're being rude about that. But see, you're trash. You are the milk cow. You're the food. And it wants you to know. It wants you, the big dog wants you to know, hey. And they know how to deal with it when Aaron said, no, I'm not going to show you my ID. They ran and got, their bosses who weren't insane. They came over and were just like, So your media, yeah, all right, well, let's just leave them alone. You know, out there in a park getting a shot, there's media out there every day. I mean, it's ridiculous. It's all about we're guilty, we're bad. Listen, cops, you're being told to act like thugs because crooks took over the nation. My gut tells me they probably just killed Andrew Breitbart. You got it? They're shipping guns into Mexico to blame the Second Amendment. They're trying to launch World War III. They work with Al-Qaeda. Hillary Clinton's in the BBC. By the way, did we get that video ever? I showed you guys where it's in this Paul Watson article. Yeah. If you go to Infowars.com, let me just tell you, Hillary Clinton admits U.S. and Al-Qaeda on same side in Syria. U.S. and France arm rebels with anti-aircraft missiles. Good, you do have it. Just cue it up whenever you can. Thank you. Great job. I've got to control my anger here. Cue it up to the part where she admits it. The point is, you're being given unconstitutional power because we've got a case of cancer. Now, there are multiple states moving to block at the state level the secret arrest of citizens and the disappearance of citizens. Utah, other states. You understand, the government's saying it'll secretly arrest citizens and disappear us. And the states are telling state police and others, you do not be part of kidnappings. That's illegal. You will report, you will stop that. I mean, can an FBI agent, just because they're an FBI agent, pull over if they see a toddler walking down the street and shoot them for fun? No. But wait a minute, I thought government can do whatever it wants. Is this North Korea? Is this King George? Is this the New World Order? And look, I've had state police pull me over who are nice. I've been in a car wreck and state police came and we're both listeners. I'm not saying you're all bad, but the little political types that they had out at that speedboat thing, and Darren McBreen did a fair report last time because they talked to us. We did a nice report. Well, why is it, you know, almost $700,000? Why do we need this when you could buy 6 or 7 of the boats? Oh, that hit a little close to the bone. We're now getting statistics about light rail killing people everywhere because trains can't yield. You're supposed to yield by law, even if you have the right-of-way, if it's going to cause an accident. Why are trains exempt? Why are they putting them down on the ground with cars? We're trying to get an interview with that. They won't talk to us because we'll ask real questions. And, I mean, I was watching this footage of Darren, who, you know, as a reporter, is just as polite as it gets. By the way, Darren, both his parents were cops. They're retired, of course. But just a really nice guy. Darren goes up, totally polite. And they're like, no, we're not talking to you. And all of a sudden, the cops all bow up. I mean, you people are shameful. You're shameful. And it was shameful when I drove by that weird checkpoint, whatever they were doing. And I walked up and said, hey, how's it going this morning? And the cops were like, oh, it's a citizen walking up talking to me. Go back, get back. And I'm like 60 yards away. And I'm like, huh? What do you mean? And I was doing a psychological test. And he was like, I told you, get back in your car. And I was like, well, why? What's going on? You don't have to yell at me. He said, I told you, and he was putting his hand on his gun. I'm like, oh, you want to destroy America. I'm a slave. I said all this. I'm not supposed to talk to you. And I said, you make me want to throw up. I said, enjoy your evil. But you talk about being a cursed, weak man. You talk about being a slug. When I watch those North Korean soldiers and police with the people in formation walking in at Kim Jong-il's thing and crying for days, and if you didn't cry hard enough, they put you in a labor camp, that's associated. Guys, search the term. If you didn't cry hard enough or didn't cry enough at Kim Jong-il's funeral, you went to a labor camp. I think that's like BBC. The point is that when I see the crazed eyes of a Soviet soldier from old black and white films, I just you can see it, the evil. When I see North Korean film of the modern ones, I'm just like, they are palpably evil. They have a palpable weird, petty power trip, almost like a 5-year-old who's spoiled and bad and a bully beating up a 2-year-old. You ever seen something like that? They have this crazed look. They get off on the fear. They feed on the weakness. Oh, man. I'm seeing cops more and more of that look in their eye. I'm either seeing cops that are awake, and I am seeing more cops changing tires, something you haven't seen for decades. You either have cops that are awake and are real human beings, and also you can tell are actually tough guys. They're just real humans, and you see these wimpy little so-called tough guys who every ounce of my inside just goes, bad news, bad man, North Korean operative, basically. Yeah, if you didn't cry like a maniac for Kim Jong-il, you're going to prison. And that's from RT. But that's the, evil RT Russia Today. They don't like the North Koreans. They're bad. Oh, actually, that's New York Magazine with an RT video. So even worse, you know. Just listen, the country's going down. Okay, there's a good chance if we don't stop them, they're going to release some super weaponized flu or Ebola or something. This won't even matter. And all you tough guys, all you want to be, you know it all. So I got all this news to cover, and I just went into a complete meltdown rant here. It is so creepy when you see cops that walk by you and try to scare you. There was this restaurant we ate at in Baton Rouge in the morning. Like Poor Boy Lloyd, you know, good little, nice old lady, you know, running it. And it was full of cops. It was a cop place. And we went there driving out to Florida. We stopped in Baton Rouge driving back. So we ate there like 3 times. Twice one day and then once one day. Ate there yesterday morning. And I watched the 10 or more like 15 motorcycle cops and others that came through. And I would watch them. And some of them were normal and weren't like crazy or whatever. I'm sitting there with my kids and my wife eating. But a couple of them would walk by my table and look at me, and they would get off on their uniforms and get off on their authority. Oh, you went and got a uniform. And now I'm in North Korea, and I got to bow down and kiss your hind end. I mean, it was just, and they're such punks. I mean, you can tell there's nothing worse than punks in uniforms in an authoritarian system. And I'm just not going to put up with it. I've been in third world countries, and I've seen the crazed thug cops. I mean, I've been in Honduras, man, and let me tell you, those cops are slimy, and people are scared of them, and they get off on it. And I see that look in American cops. I never used to see that, man. When I was a kid, I mean, it was more like the football jock type in their blue uniform that was like, oh, ha, ha. Man, you don't see that hardly anymore. It's just scary, sick creeps. Our country's got cancer. Those state police are so given to evil. They are ready to take your guns. They are ready to destroy this country. I know evil when I see it. And those people on those videos are enemies of this country, and I'm calling you out, you scum. You know what else happened? I mean, this is unfolding as I sit here with the state police who hate the First Amendment in Texas and love the TSA grabbing your genitals, I guess. And I guess it is a new DPS. They've learned to keep their mouth shut about the abuse at the Texas Youth Commission. Make sure all the locals get to have their fun with those kids. To be clear, they followed the guys out of the parking lot for miles with the state police right on their bumper. And then U-turned right in the street and drove off. And then, whenever we go out and do interviews, the media is always like, the media people with the police are always like, well, you're media? Where are you on? InfoWars? I've heard of that, but that's not real media. We're like, yeah, we're on, local Channel 10 airs our stuff. And, we're also like on 590 here locally, where we're on the radio. And during the break, I get a call from the 590 guy saying the state police have called them and saying, why are the state police calling us? And then, of course, they try to twist it like we're saying we're 590 AM when we're not, when I air these reports here. People say, well, what media? Oh, it's Infowars.com. It's a local radio. What radio? Oh, like 590 on this station. And then everything gets spun with them, how you're bad. I'm gonna probably end up having to sue them for stuff like this. I mean, it's just a bunch of crooks, man. God, this country's gone. They work for big banks that are totally robbing the country blind. I mean, that is what's going on in this country. That is what's happening, and it is so incredibly, unbelievably pathetic. This country has been totally taken over. The world government's all being announced. They're firing Pat Buchanan, Judge Napolitano. Andrew Breitbart dies when he says he's bringing out video that'll destroy Obama. All of this is happening. They're about to start World War III, and my reporters go out to cover this big armored machine gun boat and to ask them about that and drones, and they freak out and won't talk to them, and then on top of it, follow them out of the parking lot for a couple miles, right on their hind end, acting like they did something wrong, and then I start getting messages. It goes on to say, are John Bound and Darren McBreen on your staff? The DPS contacted our DPS contact, and we're also affiliated with your show. Can you shed any light on this? I mean, it's just crazy. The state police are calling our local affiliate because, wait, the media is not supposed to ask us questions. Wait a minute. You're not supposed to discuss what's going on. You're supposed to take it. You're supposed to, we give you a press release and you read it on air. That's how America works. We don't have a free press in America. You see, you know why I'm mad about this video. The cops are bowing up because my reporters are there to ask about their $700,000 or whatever boats. They're buying a whole bunch of them with our tax money. The state police are all over the place.